Let's go, family. Happy, blessed Tuesday. You already know it's Crazy Faith to God in the building. Hope everybody's doing amazing today. Welcome to the Crazy Faith to God channel where we impact your spirit, feed your soul. And let's dive into it. Today's topic is going to be the testings of faith, right? The testings of your faith, right? Are you willing to get your faith tested, right? That's a good question. Are you willing to get your faith tested? Because anything that we go through in life, our faith will be tested. You could do all the work you want, right? You could do a bunch of work, right? You could do $1 million worth of work, right? But if you don't have the faith, you won't get the results that you want, right? I noticed that, right? I could do all the work, right? That's fine. Work without faith is dead, right? So we can do the work, but if we don't got the faith, your works is dead, right? And this is all, we all have to understand this, because maybe you're doing something right now and you're not seeing the results that you want. It's been a week, it's been 2 weeks, it's been a month, it's been 2-3 months, but you're not seeing the results, right? You're doing the work, but where's your faith, right? And I feel like God is asking us, where's our faith? I see the work. I see you doing the work. I see that. But where is your faith? Right? And I struggle with this. I used to do all of the work that could be done. Right? I was doing all the work, but I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted. Right? I wasn't seeing those results. Why? Because of my faith, right? It was because of my faith. It was because of my faith, right? And as I begin to develop my faith, strengthen my faith, right? Believe more, right? That's when we see the door starts to open on top of our works, right? And sometimes it can get a little bit discouraging. Like, you can work, right? And not see no results, but you still gotta, that faith, right? We sometimes forget about the faith. Sometimes we work so much because it's the physical, but something spiritually has to be done too. And that's, the faith is the spiritual work, right? The physical work is the work, and the spiritual work is the faith. That's why they say faith without works is dead, right? It goes hand in hand. Right? And we need to have that faith. We need to have that hope in order to see the results that we want. Right? We got to have, like, our faith will be tested. You can do all the work you want, but without your faith, it's going to be hard for things to happen. And what helped me to develop my faith is stay in the Word. Read the scriptures. After you put in the work, get your Bible and read the scriptures. Stay feeding your spirit so we can operate out of the spirit instead of operating out of the physical. You can't get nothing through the physical without it coming through the spiritual works, right? You work in your spirit, right? You stay in your spirit, you feed your spirit, and only stay in that. Don't look to the physical and what you see, because that's a lie. Everything happens first in the spiritual realm, right? Before it manifests into the physical. And you got to keep doing this. You got to keep working. Faith plus works until you see it in the physical, right? That's how we manifest. That's how things are being attracted. That's how things work, right? And that's a big one, because we could get a little discouraged, including myself sometimes, when we're not seeing the results that we want. We could get a little discouraged, but we got to remember not to look through the physical and what we see, but to remain grounded in our faith until it happens. Now, that's some stubborn faith right there. And that's what God is looking for, right? That stubborn faith, right? He's like, where's my people that got that stubborn faith so I could bless them, right? And that's what I'm developing now. I'm on, like, I have faith, but now I want to turn it up a little bit turn it up a notch, have that stubborn, crazier faith, right? That stubborn, crazier faith, right? And without those two essence, it's going to be hard for you to stand, because when time runs out and when God checks your stamina and your endurance, that's where the faith, you can fall back on the faith. That's where you can fall back on your faith, right? Because your endurance will be tested, your faith will be tested, a lot will be tested. And you got to be aware of what area God is testing you in, so that way you can understand, okay, I need to apply faith. Okay, I need endurance. Okay, I need patience. Okay, I need to work a little bit more. Okay, I need to read the Bible a little bit. You got to understand where you're at and what needs to be fed. Because a lot of us are feeding things that doesn't add value to the kingdom. That's not getting you to where you need to go. So we need to we need to fuel our spirit, feed our spirits over everything. Because your spirit is is how you're able to stand, and your spirit is how you're able to stand strong. Without a strong spirit, you think you're gonna stand anywhere? Without a strong spirit, right? Without a God spirit, without that strong spirit of God, do you think you're able to stand anywhere if you're not developing your spirit? Because you can get to the destination, or you can get to the place that you want to be, but if your spirit is not strong, you will fall, right? If your spirit is not strong, you would fall. And we got to be mindful of this, right? We got to be super, super mindful of this, right? We got to be super mindful of this. So, we got to keep developing our spirits. We got to stay charged. We got to stay plugged in, right? We got to stay charged. We got to stay plugged into our faith. Don't let your faith die, right? Don't let your faith die, right? Keep developing your faith. Keep putting work into you, because at the end of the day, you matter, right? That faith is everything. Some of us overlook the faith. Some of us just wants to put in the work without putting any faith in. And you can't get to the blessing like that. It all has to work. Your faith, your works, your hope, everything has to work accordingly. It has to be aligned, right? And maybe that's probably one of the reasons where you're not where you want to be, but you're not, because of the faith, right? So let's be mindful of the faith, so that way we can get to where we want to go, and we could actually please God and not please things that is not of God, right? We want to be able to please God over pleasing people, right? That's what we need to be able to do, because God is going to bless you. People are not going to bless you, right? People are not going to take you to the promised land, but the Spirit of God. So